Okay, B'siyata Dishmaya, it is Tzom Gdalia, Shana Tova Metuka. We're in the third day of Tafshin Pei Vav. The third day of the year, Tafshin Pei Vav. Shavir, that I said before, Rosh Hashanah, clearly, Pei Vav is Gematria 86, which is Elokim, which is Ateva, nature. It's probably going to be a year that we're going to get tested in seeing Hashem and what is our true nature, right? Is Torah and Kedusha our second nature, or is it our nature? When you wake up in the morning, what's your nature? To waste time, to go to pray and serve Hashem. What is nature? How do you approach life? And what is it that's really going on in the depth? So, on this day, we have one of the 4 fasts that we have throughout the year to commemorate the destruction of the temple. All of the fasts that we have besides Yom Kippur are about the destruction of the temple. All an outcome of that, right? The fast of Esther, Asara B'Tevet, Tisha B'Av, 17th of Tammuz, and Tzom Gedaliah. They're all outcomes of what happened with the destruction of the temple and the fact that the Jews went into Galut. These were all, again, instituted for us to have a time to be able to recognize and feel deeper the loss of the temple, the loss of the lights that came down with the temple. And it's not enough now. We're not really coming now to mourn the temple. We have one day to do that, Tisha B'Av, to mourn the destruction of the temple. Now, we're not trying to focus so much about what was in the past. That's not why we have these days. The main thing is to focus and contemplate on these events in order to arouse our hearts to do tshuva and to come back now in our times. Any generation that the temple was not created in its day, built in its days, it's as if it was destroyed in its day. Why? Because we're all here with the potential, and the only obligation that we have is to try to rebuild the temple. We have to do that with our actions, we have to do that with our hearts and our desires, and the way we speak. Every single generation has the ability to arouse the mercy that's needed in the heavens in order for us to receive redemption, and to have Geula, and to have the building of the temple, and to return all of the lost souls, wherever they are in the world, back to Eretz Yisrael, to receive the Mashiach, who's going to come with revealing God consciousness in the world. Every single generation has the ability to arouse that. How? By way of doing tshuva. We do tshuva, we come back to Hashem, and we fix our bad ways, and we fix our bad ways of thinking and our bad ways of doing, and we come back to Hashem. So as long as the Yeshua hasn't come, it's a sign that we haven't fully done tshuva. We haven't fully come back from our main mistakes. Again, it's not about the sin. A lot of the times the sin is just an outcome of the messed up mind. The way a person thought that wasn't aligned. A person didn't think God, so they ended up thinking about themselves, and then they did something that was against Hashem. A person thinks about a small sin that they're doing, it's not such a big thing. That small thing turns into a huge thing. The Rambam says there's 24 things that a person does, that thinks, feels, or does, that prevents them from doing tshuva. Nothing can prevent you from doing tshuva, unless you're doing something that you think is not a problem, and you just allow yourself to do it all the time. You think, what's the big deal? It is a big deal, because do that same one thing that's not so bad, even though you can't really make that calculation, what's bad or what's not. If the Torah says it's forbidden, it's forbidden. But a lot of things, sometimes it's not even that the person knows that it's bad. Sometimes people, they did tshuva, they didn't really learn halacha, they haven't learned these things, so they didn't even know they're doing a sin. For example, people think it's okay to look at women. It's not okay to look at women. There's no prohibition to see a woman, there's a prohibition to look at a woman. You're not allowed to look at women. You think it's not such a bad thing. It's a horrible thing. Why? After a while, that adds up, then it becomes permissible. Then you think, it's not that bad. It's okay, she's dressed properly, she's this. As a man, you should know your mind, where it's going. And you have to be real with yourself. Most of us, no matter what, you see a woman, our mind goes to a certain place. As long as you think that's okay, you won't be able to do tshuva. Not that they don't want you to do tshuva, not that they won't let you do tshuva. You're holding on to things that won't ever allow you to move forward. You have to let go of it. You have to move on from it. So these events and these fast days are for us to be able to focus on what were the events that happened there that led to the destruction of the temple, what were the events that came out of the destruction of the temple. And if that was from sins, so then also now in my life, I have sins that I want to clean up and I want to fix so that there shouldn't be a destruction of the temple, aka my mind and the clarity that I have, the freedom that I have in this world to do what I need to do. So we have to fix these thoughts that lead to bad actions. And these fasts, whenever we do them, we say slichot on the fast days, and we read about what happened. We read from the Torah, Vayechel Moshe, and Moshe Rabbeinu had to ask for forgiveness for us when we did the sin of the golden calf. And we think about all these things, and we mention these sins that we continue to do. And if we are aroused and do tshuva properly, then one day specifically, it's going to come, and all of these, once Mashiach comes and flips everything, so we're going to go from these days being days of fast to days of immense joy and feasts. And like the rest of our mitzvot, when we do sins and they pull us away from Hashem, the second that we realize that sin that pulled us away from Hashem actually invited us into a deeper relationship with Hashem once we did tshuva, and specifically because of that bad thing that I got aroused to do tshuva and come closer to Hashem. So then what is that bad thing? The second I do that tshuva out of love, that bad thing becomes a zchut. That's what made me closer to Hashem. That negative thing that I experienced made me closer to Hashem. But it was wrong and you're not allowed to do that. Okay, that's why I did tshuva. But that doesn't remove the fact that I did tshuva and got closer to Hashem because I did that sin. No permission to do the sin. That's the reality. Everything that we're going through in our life is there to bring us closer to Hashem. Even if it looks like it's the opposite of what the Torah wants you to do. Before you do it, you have to watch yourself, make sure you don't sin. Once it's done, it was only allowed to happen in this world to allow you and invite you to come closer to Hashem. This is what the prophet says, Zechariah says, Ko amar Adonai tzvaot, tzom ha-revi'i, v'tzom ha-chamishi, v'tzom ha-shvi'i, v'tzom ha-asiri, yeh leveit Yehuda lesason lesimcha lemoadim tovim, v'ha'emet v'ha'shalom ehavu. That the prophet Zechariah gets a message from Hashem to tell the people of Israel, this is what Hashem said, that the fast of the 4th month, the fast of the 5th month, the 7th month, and the 10th month will become for Yehuda, for the house of Yehuda, meaning for the Jewish people, days of sason and simcha, immense joy and moadim tovim, good times. We come together to eat together and to feast together. And truth and peace, they will love. Truth and peace they will love. So today, out of all the fasts, today is Tzom Gedaliah. Tzom Gedaliah, the rabbis instituted because there was a Shalom Aleichem. There was an assassination that happened on this day of Gdalia ben Achikam. Gdalia ben Achikam was the tzaddik of the generation, right? That was left over. We're talking about again the generation of the first temple, the destruction of the first temple. And Gdalia was killed on Rosh Hashanah. On Rosh Hashanah he was killed. But since we can't fast on Rosh Hashanah, so then the fast was delayed to the day after, Gimel Tishrei. And the rabbi said about this fast that Shkula mitat tzadikim kisrifat bet Eloheinu. The death of the tzadikim is weighed in comparison to the burning of the house of our God. Meaning the destruction of the temple, a death of a tzaddik is like that. So like they made it a fast on the destruction of the temple, so too a fast was instituted for the killing of Gdalia. What? Not sure. Not sure to tell you. Not sure. But technically, Rosh Hashanah is one day. Halachically, Rosh Hashanah is one day. Yom HaRichta. Yeah, even then. It's a long day. One long day. Rosh Hashanah has been... It's not the same as like a 2-day Yom Tov. It's not. That's when in Israel, right? We also do 2 days. So Gdalia, what happened was that Nebuchadnezzar came in, forced all the Jews into exile, and Yirmiyahu, everyone was forced into exile. A lot of people were killed, and the Jews here were left with a puppet Babylonian government, right? Jewish leaders, but not too far from today, right? You have to answer to America. So then, same thing, they had to answer to Babylon. And he left in Yerushalayim, Nebuchadnezzar left in Yerushalayim very few people. And it was all for economic interest, right? To leave Jews here in Israel that knew the land and they could make the money here and just tax them. The main money maker at the time for Nebuchadnezzar in the land of Israel was tchelet. Was the tchelet dye. And it's a beautiful, sharp, powerful color that represents wealth as well, and royalty. Still to this day, it's extremely important and expensive. And the Jews also knew how to take oil out of a farsimon. What's a farsimon? Persimmon. So we know a farsimon that it looks like a tomato, but it's orange. It's a fruit you have here in Israel. A farsimon, persimmon. It has a beautiful smell, right? So these were a few of the things that it made sense for Nebuchadnezzar to leave the Jews that knew how to do these trades here in the land where these trades were more common, and to just make the money off of them. But he left the most simple people here in Israel. He took all the smart and the wise and the engineers and all the chachamim and the sages. He took them all to Babylon, and he left here the most simple workers that could just do this, this thing. Why? Because smart people can make rebellions. Simple people are just trying to get by, eat their food, they're willing to be a slave, they're not going to rebel against Nebuchadnezzar. And on top of everybody that he left here in Israel, he put in charge Gdalia ben Achikam. He was the appointed Jewish minister for this Babylonian government. And Gdalia wasn't from David. He wasn't meant to be a king, he wasn't meant to be a ruler. And that way, he can't call himself king, and he can't reestablish the Judean rule here in Jerusalem. It's like, he took specifically someone from a different tribe. You can't be king, you can't be a true leader, they won't respect you, you can't do it, you're a tzaddik, so you won't go against halacha. Yeah, boom, you're in charge. And little by little, the Jews of Yehuda that were left in Eretz Yisrael started to come around Gdalia more and more and more. He was the leader. And they started to build their life up again. And even the Jews there was Jews that ran into Egypt and to Jordan, right? Those countries didn't exist back then, but right, they ran into the lands that are surrounding here, Syria, everywhere around Israel. They ran away because they didn't want to get into war. So even then, they started to come back, because now you have a tzaddik, you have a Gdalia, you have a person ruling over the land. So now, what's the reality? A puppet government was tried to be established with a person that's not a legitimate ruler of Israel, but still Jewish rule in the land of Israel, like we see in our times, even if it's illegitimate, and even if it's against Torah, and even if it's not the right thing, lahavdil, because Gdalia was a good person, but again, appointed by Nebuchadnezzar, appointed by Babylon, non-Davidic lineage. Still, Jews want to be with Jewish leaders in the land. So people started to come back, and now people are hearing this rumor that Am Yisrael's rising in Eretz Yisrael. And there was a king in Ammon, which is Amman, right, Jordan area. His name was Balis, and this news came to him, and he was an enemy of Nebuchadnezzar. He didn't like Nebuchadnezzar, so he wanted to wipe out this proxy of Nebuchadnezzar, this Jewish proxy of Nebuchadnezzar in Eretz Yisrael. As soon as he got started, Jewish power rising up. One of my enemies and their proxy armies. Let's take it out. So, what was his idea? Let's get Gdalia assassinated. How are you going to do that? You try to figure out who's the best shaliach possible that could go into to assassinate Gdalia. And what was his name? One of the most beautiful names we have in Am Yisrael, but one of the most disgusting meanings. Not the meaning, of the name is good, but usually the people are very, very, very bad. Usually. There's one that's remembered for being extremely righteous. Anybody guess the name? Ishmael. Ishmael. Right? That's not an Arabic name, that's our name. It came from the Torah. Ishmael. Hashem will hear. His name was Ishmael ben Netanya. Some say Netanyahu, some say Netanya, it doesn't matter. Gdalia, Eliyahu. This is the way of the Torah. Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu. So Ishmael ben Netanya. Ishmael was a Rasha. Most people named Ishmael are Rishaim, are wicked people. And he was very, very, very jealous of Gdalia, that, so to say, was made a king by way of Nebuchadnezzar, right? This leader here in the land. And Ishmael thought that he should be in charge. Of course, like most jealous people, they can't be happy with someone else's success. It should be me that's in charge. Since he was also, he has a righteous claim, he's David's son. He's from the line of David and Shlomo. So he is meant to, if there's any going to be in rule, it would be whoever is at the head that's from the Davidic lineage. So Balis, this king of Ammon, sees now he found his person. A guy that has jealousy and that he has proper lineage. He'll do a good work and he'll go and he'll be able to kill Gdalia. This information came to Yochanan ben Korach, who was one of the generals of the Israelite army. And Yochanan went straight away to Gdalia, hiddenly, and told him, just so you know, Balis, this king of Ammon, is sending Ishmael ben Netanya to come kill you. But Gdalia, because he was such a tzaddik, and you can say that straightforwardly and sarcastically, meaning he was a tzaddik, but who says it was the right thing for him to do? Out of his such righteousness, he didn't want to listen and receive Lashon Hara. Don't tell me Lashon Hara about another Jew. Yochanan started to beg him, please, don't let this happen. Don't let this happen. Tzaddik, don't want to hear Lashon Hara, I get it. You have a bounty on your head. You have a foreign king and a Jew that's appointed by him that's coming to kill you. Don't let it happen. The second you get killed, we're going to lose all hope in the land of Israel. Proxy government appointed by Nebuchadnezzar, it doesn't matter. You're a tzaddik and you're living in the land of Israel helping the Jews here. So what? You have to report to Babylon, whatever. They're not here. You're here ruling. If you get killed, we're done for. And if he gets killed and the government's done, what does that mean for the Jews? We will no longer be in the land of Israel, which is the whole entire point. Nebuchadnezzar thought in his evil plan, he's leaving some Jews in Israel to make money. We're the neshama of the land, right? This land is just the body. We're the soul. You can have any reasons you want to for leaving Jews in the land. The only reason ever is to keep the soul of the land of Israel and the people of Israel united and connected. So now if Gdalia gets killed, there won't be any rule, there won't be any power, there won't be any government to help us stay united. All the Jews will be kicked out of the land of Israel. And he says that Yochanan says to Gdalia, if you want to kill him, Ishmael, because he's coming to kill you, mitzvah from the Torah, a person that comes to kill you, you kill them first. Give me the permission and I'll go kill him quietly without anybody knowing that you sent me. This guy's a military general. He can go do a quiet assassination, go take him out so he doesn't come kill you. But Gdalia, obviously, can't agree to something like that. He doesn't want to hear Lashon Hara, let alone to assassinate another Jew. He told him, Sheker ata dover odot Ishmael, you're telling lies about Ishmael, it's not the truth. And Chazal teach us that this was a problem, this was a mistake. We're taught, Chashdeu v'kabdeu. A person, you're told about a person that's going to do something bad, you suspect them and honor them. Right? Suspicion, can't get rid of the suspicion. I have reason to be suspicious of you. With that said, I'll respect you. honor you. I'm not going to speak bad about you. Don't need to trash you. But if I have a military general coming to me and telling me that you're going to come assassinate me, I can still honor you and respect you and kill you silently. Right? Person in public, it doesn't need to become a big scandal now and thing. Exactly, right? What Chazal teaches from here, Gdalia did the wrong thing. The wrong thing. So on Rosh Hashanah, the year is 3,339, right? It was one day after the destruction, 52 days after the destruction of the temple, right? Tisha B'Av, Rosh Hashanah. 52 days after the destruction of the temple. Gdalia is also Gematria Eliyahu, which is Gematria 52. Ishmael ben Netanya came with 10 of his friends, and he wanted to speak he asked for time with Gdalia to speak about politics and to speak about the government. And they sat together and they ate. And all of a sudden, Ishmael and his people stood up and they started to kill everybody there. Gdalia and everybody in the army. And they even started to kill the Babylonian soldiers that were there, the guards of Nebuchadnezzar. And after that, the day after that, Ishmael killed 70 more people. Killed 70 more people. And whoever was left there, Ishmael made a deal, a pact. He's going to send them to Ammon. He's going to send them as slaves to this king Balis. But on their way to Ammon, Yochanan ben Korach came with his army, and when Ishmael saw them, he ran away with him and the 8 people that he had with him. The rest gathered around Yochanan ben Korach, and they quickly ran away from the land of Israel because they were scared of the anger and the rage of Nebuchadnezzar, that obviously would want to come back when he heard that the Jews killed his soldiers. And they ran to Mitzrayim, they ran to the land of Egypt. But even there, Nebuchadnezzar came after them with a long sword, and that's how everybody that was left in Israel was wiped out. And Eretz Yisrael was completely desolate of its children. And then the Torah, what the Torah says in Parashat Bechukotai, Ve'etchem ezare b'goyim, I will plant you, spread you out in the goyim. Ve'harikti acharechem harev, I will send after you a sword. V'ayta artechem shmama, and your land will become desolate. V'arechem yu haraba, and your cities will be destroyed. All of this is why we fast on Tzom Gdalia. That's why we have a fast day of today. Am Yisrael was sent to Babel. Right? It says that once we went into exile, the birds of Israel went into exile. All the fish of Israel went into exile. 52 years, no bird was seen flying in Israel. 52 years, you didn't see a bird flying in Israel. It says in Yirmiyahu, right, from the birds of the heaven, even to the animals of the earth, all of them were wandering and were in exile. 700 types of fish, 800 different types of birds, all went into Babel. And for 7 years you had in the land of Israel, Gofrit v'melech serafa kol aratza, sulfate and salt, meaning like Yam HaMelech, right? The whole entire land. Lo tizra v'lo titzmach v'lo ya'aleh ba kol esev. No planting, no plants, nothing would survive. Imagine Yam HaMelech, the whole entire land of Israel for 7 years. Shayu hagoyim zorim ba v'hazorim nisrafim. The goyim that were here, they would put seeds in the ground, and the seed would get burnt from the heat of the ground. Nothing could last here. And we see that nothing lasts here. When the Jews came back here, right, in the 1800s, things started to come back alive. More and more. So you see now, come here, you would never know that for 2,000 years this place looked like Nevada, Lavdil. Right? But the Jews come back, the soul comes back inside. we have to understand the Fast of Gedaliah. What's the Fast of Gedaliah? All 4 fasts that we have in our calendar are all about the destruction of the temple. In the Fast of the Gdalia, the rabbis instituted, like we learned today, and because the destruction of the temple is similar to the killing of the leaders of the generation. And when a tzaddik, leader of the generation, is killed, it's worthy of fasting over it. So like we instituted a fast for the destruction of the temple and everything we lost for our connection to Hashem, so too the tzadikim provide us also connection to Hashem and give us the ability to stay here in the land of Israel, land of God consciousness. And it's worthy to fast over a tzaddik like that that's taken out, especially when it's done between brothers, between 2 Jews. It's not the right way. It's not the way of peace. And B'ezrat Hashem, these days very soon will be switched into days of festivity, where we'll sit together as brothers and sisters and eat and drink and be happy in our connection to Hashem, and we won't need to fast anymore because of the destruction of the temple. B'ezrat Hashem. Maybe this be the last fast that we have to fast. B'ezrat Hashem.